Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I've been asked tonight to give you a snapshot of specifically units and townhouse developments in Melbourne. My experiences with property date back for about 15 or 20 years when we did the first project in Melbourne Road in Clayton. We did 5 units, single-storey units there, and that's one of our first projects. Then we did, just recently we got a permit for 3 large townhouses in just behind Monash Hospital, and we're just about to start a permit for 8 apartments above 2 shops in Rosebank Avenue in Clayton South. So I've got ongoing experiences and successes with Property Start and with Harman for a number of years. I want to go through the medium prices for units and townhouses as the fourth quarter of last year. The criteria will be 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, garage. Now there's 5 ranges, but we'll talk about the lowest range, the top range, and then where I suggest you should be looking at. The lowest ranges are below 350,000, and they're the outer suburbs, such as your Taylors Lakes, your Cranbourne, Mill Park, Croydon, Dandenong, Cranbourne, and Carrum Downs. And then you've got the top end, of course, million plus townhouses or units, and there are your Turacs and your Brydens and Camberwells and what have you. But where I think you should be concentrating is your price range between $500,000 and $800,000 where units and townhouses are. In that price range, we've got 25% of the market is in that price range. And the suburbs that you should be concentrating on are the inner suburbs, and we'll start out in the west, and we're talking about the Footscray, Yarraville, Newport. Then we'll go off to the north, again, all inner suburbs, Coburg, Preston, Thornbury. We'll go out to the east, Doncaster, Blackburn, Burwood, and down the southeast, Clayton, Hyde and Cheltenham. The top growth suburbs for unit and townhouse, again, the last quarter of last year, I'm not going to call out the whole 20, but I will highlight the ones that I think are important. The top one was Hyatt, with an increase of 28.9%. Now, people will throw any money at that to achieve that sort of result. Doncaster came in at second, 19.3%. Number 4 was Dandenong with 17.3%, and that was obviously from a low base, but still, it doesn't matter how much money you're investing, at 17.3%, that's very good return. 7th was Box Hill at 14%, Coburg, an inner suburb, at 11 or just under 12%, and Noble Park at 17%, again low base, just under 10%. So there's a variety of properties that or suburbs that you should be looking at, but again, if I can advise you, stick in that price range. I believe that's where you can make some decent money. I'm going to give you a hot spot or hot suburb that I think you should be looking at, and I could be very biased because I think Clayton is not in the top 20, but I believe that it will come up. And why I say that, because you've got 2 major assets there. One is Monash University, which has got 40,000 students, and it's the largest university in Australia. And the second asset there is Monash Hospital. Now, you might say, yeah, it's only a hospital, but they've just started building or constructing the new children's hospital and the new research centre. So there's a lot of development, there's a lot of demand for property in Clayton. And also, obviously, the Monash freeway is very close by. I'll give you some very quick stats. In February of this year, the property market centre, which really means consumer confidence in the marketplace, and for the last 2 months, January and February, increased by 2.6%. You might think that's not a lot, but it is increasing. It's in positive mode, and it's continuous. The stats that we use in the property market, or the property indicators, are 5, and I'll go quickly through those. It's the Victorian auction data. In February of this year, we had 2,300 auctions, which is 18% higher than last year, and that's 72.3% clearance rate. So that's very huge, showing a lot of confidence in the marketplace. Then we have the other indicator being the Residential Property Price Index, which again in the last quarter of last year, the residential property price index of weighted average for the 8 capital cities came in at 3.4%, but over the year it came up to 9.3%, close to 10%, and that's across all capital cities, virtually all suburbs right across the country. Melbourne, again, in the last quarter, rose by 2.6%, but over the year, it rose just under 8% for the whole year. A few other indicators are letting finance. During the month of January of this year, it rose by 1.5%. The housing finance commitment, it actually fell by 0.3%, which is not a lot, but however, the first home buyers did rise by 12.7%. Something that you people will be interested in, building approvals. The trend estimates for the number of building approvals in Victoria have been on the upward trend for the past 8 months, increasing by 1.4% in January 2014. Seasonally adjusted, Victoria peaked at 10.4%, so which has been the rise for the past 15 months. So the last 15 months, building approvals have been increasing in Melbourne specifically. Some economic comments have been stated that given the release of positive economic growth data and the low interest rates environment, which will continue to boost credit construction growth in the dwelling market, the outlook of building approvals in the near term looks positive. That finishes off the stats. That's a quick brief of stats. I was recently attended a presentation by the ANZ Bank. They had a property seminar, and the person or the presenter was Scott Kegg from Charter Kramer. He's the chairman of the company. He's a property consultant. When he talks, everybody listens, so to speak. He did highlight a number of points that are relevant for tonight, and what he did say that the real growth in Melbourne are in the inner suburbs, and where the range I had said before, the 500 to 800,000 mark. He said the real growth are not only in the inner suburbs, but specifically in units and townhouses, and that's what we hear about. Number 3, he said he compared other world major cities to Melbourne, and he said that Melbourne lags far behind when it comes to unit and townhouse developments. What he's saying, we are not building enough units and townhouse in the inner suburbs of Melbourne. He said also that with the increase of population, change in social structure, unit townhouses are preferred housing accommodation. We're not here to discuss apartments or housing. We are here to discuss units and townhouse developments. He also said, taking into consideration that Melbourne's the 6th most expensive city in the world, he said that when comparing Melbourne to other major world cities, we are paying much less for our properties in the inner suburbs. And everybody here will probably thinking that's not right, but when you compare apples with apples, a property, say 6 to 10 k's out of Melbourne, in comparison to property 6 to 10 k's out of New York, London, Paris, because we're the 6th most expensive city, you'll be paying at least double, maybe 3 times more. So we are lagging behind. In conclusion, ladies and gentlemen, I just want to give you one tip on where I think or how you should be buying in Melbourne, and I think you should be buying inside the ring road of Melbourne, and also as close to CBD and as close to the beach as you can afford. Thank you.